Yeah. All fruit, baby. Proud of this guy. Yeah, all fruit. Love it. All right, I'm working on the book. I only have 7 chapters left to record. So I'm working on PowerPoint, so it won't be long. I'll start recording and finishing up that book, first book. And then I want to get the lymphatic book done and out as much as we can tell you about it. All right. Hello, my dear ones. Love you out there now. I hope you all are. Nobody's in pain or anything, but that's tough when you're talking about worldwide and everyone that's really suffering. It's sad to see all that, you know. This is a Q&A from Melissa. She's in the United States. She's 39 years young, 5'6", 218 pounds. So at 5'6", we're still going to look at the pituitary, you know what I mean? So she's struggling with weight, no question. And so when you're looking at this, you're looking at pituitary, but what does the pituitary do, right? It's like the wizard, right? So it's really kind of like the overseer. Well, thyroid, parathyroids, ovaries, she's in adrenals, of course, pancreas. She's in line to have all her endocrine glands affected. And generally when the pituitary is hypo, the other ones go hypo. I know a lot of medical doctors think that when the thyroid is hyper, the pituitary is low, and therefore the thyroid is working overtime to make up for that. The problem is TSH has to be involved, see, and if it's not getting there as much. All right, weight loss, anxiety, and long-term health. So how does weight loss and anxiety fit together? Where are we talking about? The adrenal glands. And where are your adrenal glands? They sit on top of your kidneys. They control your kidney function and filtration, obviously. They control, gonadals, go right on down the line to everything. So they're very much a part of the lymphatic system, no question. But over here, they're part of mineral utilization. Wait, over here, they're part of sugar metabolism. Wait, over here, they're going... it's amazing, the little bitty puppies and what all they do. So you can tell that that's down. Now, whether her adrenals are down from ACTH or whatever from the pituitary, most people have adrenal gland weaknesses. And a lot of that comes out of the suppression and the breakdown of kidney tissue with proteins. And, of course, the adrenals are on top. So as the kidneys go down, they bring the adrenals with them. Hello, Dr. Morse. First, I want to share how much I love you as a soul and healer. Man, I love you too, honey. I love you too. You guys are the same way. To me, you guys are all healers, learning the ins and outs of how you get yourself and also others through the maze of hydration or detoxification and that sort of thing on the road to Wellville. How do you pull yourself out of the rabbit hole with as least side effects as possible? Because if you've got bad, gnarly chemistry in you, that gnarly chemistry's got to come out. And sometimes it can hit you again. And that's why the herbs are so important and the diet is so important, because as you bring up stored old haunts of chemistry, you want them to be removed out of the kidneys and neutralized. You don't want to have another kick from that. You can have an outbreak of herpes. You can have all kinds of things when you get into this. You're stirring the pot. When you start bringing in hydration, acids are in that darkness and evil ripping apart of things. And here comes the light, the alkaline, here comes the sugars. That's the light, the power. And move over. So you can expect that you're going to feel things. Old injuries, we've talked about that before. That's just standard issue. We've talked about that in the natural health field for 100 years. some of the symptoms you can re-experience as the body is healing itself. It's like brings it up and says, all right, I had an accident in my knee then. Ow, my knee. Yeah. Oh, okay. Gone. Oh. My knee feels, I don't even feel my knee. Wow. That's how it works. And it can be any type of symptom out there because there's no diseases. Remember that. Don't lie on the laurel of diseases. That's a fallacy. Lie on chemistry and physics. These are the basic sciences of the foundation of life. Build your foundation, then you can go way out if you want. I've listened to you for years, and every time I listen to your podcast or see your video, you bring such a smile. I hope so. Sometimes I get ripped, It's like, come on, man. I mean, it's like the health field is a screwed up field, both in the natural side, and of course medical isn't about health at all. So when they start associating the word of health, remember, this is what calculated minds have done. The medical community is full of calculated minds of the wealthy type. How do we get your money? Remember the head of the AMA. The head of the AMA said, let buyer beware to 60 Minutes when 60 Minutes asked them, how do you protect the public from bad medical doctors? Let buyer beware. Oh, I thought they were concerned about my health. That buyer, that sounds like they're trying to make money on me. Oh. I mean, I know some really sweet, nice medical doctors, no question about it. But they blocked themselves from learning the truth about health. I mean, the natural health field, like I said before, is just loaded with all types of everything because we're God people. We're dealing with the divine that created everything. I don't know what medical doctors are chasing rainbows, or something. If you can't explain why you see a symptom, I don't know why you have a degree. Because we have foundational chemistry and physics. We know how the body works foundationally. You start getting any deeper into that, even cell mitosis. I mean, these are theories all over the place, and it's like, wow. I didn't realize that a lot of what I thought was true is really just a theory. But that's exactly what they want you to think. I mean, they treat most of you guys out there, the medical community treats most of you guys out there like you're 5-year-olds. They say all advertising is geared to 5-year-olds. But you know what, it's just, it's a sad thing that we have that serious gap. And then in the natural health field, the lack of understanding. What's the biggest problem in all these health modalities and everything? What is the biggest problem that everyone is facing? And you guys know the answers. The lymphatic system. And what is it? And what's it for? What side of chemistry is it predominantly for? We were just researching on AI here a little while ago because I'm talking about fenestrated cells of carnivores. And I was asking AI if a carnivore like a lion has the same amount of fenestrated cells as a frugivore or a herbivore. And of course they don't, because when you look at a herbivore, a frugivore, or an omnivore, basically we all have ringed bowels, ringed intestines. And they're ringed to give you maximum absorption of your nutrients. And fenestrated cells line these gut tissues because fenestrated means holes in cells. So they're absorptive cells. Well, if a carnivore is eating all protein, you wouldn't, you have to be careful about absorption. So God made a carnivore's gut slick. It's not ringed for the least amount of absorption, and AI was agreeing the fact that the amount of fenestrated cells is less, predominantly because of the volume is a lot less. You have to be careful about absorbing putrefaction. Well, humans eat meat all the time, and when you feed meat to cows, that's how the hoof and mouth and mad cow disease came around. They started feeding cattle proteins. Really? I mean, the stupidity in some of these levels are just out there. Whether it was a veterinarian that started that, I don't even know. Matter of fact, one veterinarian, he was talking to Eye on America, and you Google that one, and he says, well, and they're talking about really this the hormones they give that blister the udders and all this to increase milk production, the growth hormones. What was it, BHTA or whatever it is? Anyway, that growth hormone, some dairy farmer got on there and said, that growth hormone, that's blistering my cow's udders and all kinds of problems. Plunk, she hung up on him real quick. But one farmer got on there, and I couldn't believe it. He says, well, you know what? I feed my cattle urine-soaked newspapers to help them with more protein. I'm thinking, could you repeat that? I don't think I heard that right. Can you imagine? I mean, that's the kind of a lack of awareness that exists out there. Unbelievable. And this whole protein myth and everything else hurting a lot of animals and hurting a lot of people. That's why you got to be careful with your dogs and giving them all protein. Because I'm into the teeth and everything else on a lion, because how do you keep your teeth? And they were telling me that AI was telling me the lion's saliva is extremely alkaline, 7.5. And I'm asking, how do you get an alkaline? Where's all the chemistry coming in? Because carnivore doesn't get the carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are sugars. Sugars are fuels. Carbon is the fuel of life, like it or not. I was talking about, I think it was BMW was going to put together a nitrogen-fueled car. Problem is, extremely explosive. I mean, imagine driving your car down the road and you just suddenly blow up. I mean, it's just, it's risky to play with nitrogen, to be honest with you. Proteins are risky. All these things are risky when you start piling them up a little bit. They have a kick. And so a lion is adapted to deal with the protein by the high amount of lipids. And the high amount of lipids that are being absorbed depends upon a lion's, wait for it, lymphatic vessels in the interstitial areas of their bowel intestinal wall to help with the lipids. Because, you know, the lymphatic fluids are lipids, right? So it's just kind of helping put things together for you, to give you to understand that humans are way, way, way away from meat eaters. And that's the one thing you got to try to get rid of. For me, I've struggled staying raw fruitarian as my husband eats the standard American diet. I have the reverse. I'm the male that eats raw, and the wife is the standard American diet. She does pretty good. I mean, she has her salads a lot and some fruit, but I'm the big, heavy fruit eater. And I tend to go between vegetarian and vegan with as much fruit as I can, but I am far from perfect and struggle with cravings for bread and cheese at times. All right, so you know immediately, sweetheart, when you crave breads and cheeses, what's the number one problem that you deal with? Fungus. All right, so, but you have an adrenal gland issue. There's no question. So in your adrenal glands, when you're not metabolizing sugars properly and you're consuming complex carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates is like proteins. They're complex. Complex amino acids, complex sugars, poly meaning many, saccharides, sugars. And so those that have a lot of heavy fungal overgrowth in them always crave bread and cheeses, always, just a thing. But then I'm going to go to your adrenal glands too, right? So you've got to get on these herbs. Try to get on the detox kits. We are now putting them up online as kits. We had to deal with the boxes and all the stuff like that because all that costs money, to be honest with you. But The kits are they're fun, and especially when you go after parasites. If you get bit by anything, I'm telling you, that stuff just pulls it right out. But I'd also get fungal balance and probably stay on that for a couple months at least till you notice your cravings, you don't have them anymore. You know, if you have any fungal nails or toes, make sure they're gone. I will get very good at following and lose 30 pounds, and then my bad habits come back in. I know. And the thing is, too, is you bring up these beds. You bring up these beds of funguses when you're detoxifying and stuff like that. And so, you know, you can feel clear 1 minute and then back in it again. But you just keep going because there's no other, I don't know. How do you get what's in you out that you don't want? So you look at both sides of chemistry. What side of chemistry is holding? Hardening, holding, and that's cationic. That's your acid side. Your alkaline side is your fluidity. Opens it up, makes things flow better. Fluids flow better, hydrates. Acids dehydrate. It's that simple. A meat diet dehydrates you. Acid ash foods dehydrate you, and of course they're mucus forming. And then, of course, that hits the mucosa, and then you start having a lot of mucus. Some in places you're not aware of. A lot of people, when they start detoxifying, get tons of mucus out of their bowels. Since childhood, I struggled with intense stomach issues and... we don't have our eyes. We don't have our eyes. But since the stomach issues and strep throat and tonsillitis 1 year before they took my tonsils. See, this is such the ignorance of the AMA. It's just, they should never be allowed to use the word health. It's easy to clean your tonsils out. It's easy to clean all your lymph nodes out unless they get hard as a rock and atrophy, but you have to have the kidneys to filter. With the tonsils, you got 5 tonsils in your throat, mouth, so they'll spit it right up and out. So, you just go on a good lemon juice diet or orange diet or a grapefruit diet or grape diet and watch the mucus start coming out of you. I was sick at least 16 times when I would get high fevers around 104 and extremely deformed and touching tonsils. All right, so what side of chemistry deforms tissue? Acids, right? Right. All right, so where is your big problem? Where's your main problem that has brought down your pituitary, that has brought down the tonsils and all these other things? Where's your main problem? Kidney and adrenals. And you can see where you're hiccuping on the adrenals, how far that takes you. But those two are vital. Why? Because you're struggling with your lymphatic system. Your sewer system is backed up all through you. And from what you're telling me here, you've got serious in the wall of the stomach, in the wall of the intestines. Remember, when you talk about stomachs and you talk about livers and you talk about things, they're made of cells. Cells have to have blood and lymph involvement. One kitchen, one bathroom. Makes sense? And so that's what's not happening. So that's why you see it up here, you see it in the stomach, your whole GI tract. But remember, when we look at iridology, we look at iris, we see that heavy lymphatic stagnation around most people's GI tract. Humans have been eating high-protein diets, to the point of destroying themselves. My parents finally said enough, and when I was 16, had my tonsils removed, and the surgeon came out and told them I had a huge abscess draining behind it, and I was so lucky he didn't hit it with the laser accidentally. Oh! So, honey, your lymph system is really backed up. You really want to work on that. Abscesses, tumors, cysts, styes. What system in the body are these issues involved in? Lymphatic. These aren't blood problems. These are lymphatic problems. And your lymphatic system drains through your kidneys and your skin. Most people don't know that. It's not in the books. This is what I've been teaching for 50-some years, and this is why we're so successful. Most everybody else, they're treatment thinking. You know, the worst thing the medical doctors have gotten into is the treatment mentality. But there's a lot of money being made. I mean, take a look at how much money a pharmaceutical brings in. Pharmaceutical companies are unreal, uncontrolled. Advertising is uncontrolled. And look at the money they make. Look at Pfizer. I'd be curious to how much Pfizer made on the COVID vaccine. I mean, this makes you want to throw up how evil these people have become. And, of course, they think their you-know-what doesn't stink. High fever's around 104, extreme, okay. Why? He needs to, that abscess needs to be popped and drained. He could suction that abscess out. So I spent a large part of my childhood on lots of antibiotics. See, and that's the other problem we have. When you are on these antibiotics, and they give you antibiotics for any type of toxin, neurotoxin, excitotoxin, hemiotoxin, antibiotics. What happens when you kill the bacteria all in your lymph nodes? You have about 600-700 lymph nodes, probably at least in the body. What happens when you kill your lymph nodes in your bacteria in your lymph nodes? And if you've ever been on antibiotics, the one thing you notice is it suppresses your lymphatic system. I mean, this stuff is not what people think it is. Same thing with vaccines. It's not what you think it is. The mentality behind it is flawed majorly. Goes back to the 17th century. Even with Pasteur, you had Beecham, which his stuff to me was, that's the way to go. Your internal environment calls the wild. The wild isn't out there to attack healthy tissue and stuff. That wouldn't be a world where, life wouldn't be living in that world. But when you create a cesspool inside of you, when humans, which are frugivores, eat dead animal tissue and their bowels are so long, same thing with a herbivore. You do not give a herbivore meat or protein whatsoever. And even grains, they can founder on grains. Too many grains and they'll become so acidic they become stiff and sore and, the whole 9 yards. We shot a horse once for foundering. Now they detox them and pull them out of it, I understand. But back in the day, you foundered, you got shot as a horse. Same thing as breaking your leg. If you broke a leg as a horse, they put you down. They can repair those things. My parents finally said enough. Okay, that's sad stuff, like amoxicillin. Yeah, and that is a sulfa drug. And you just might have sulfur in your bowel wall, all through your stomach because of these antibiotics, these sulfa drugs. You could have a lot of this in your GI tract and stomach, irritating, causing high fungal problems. I don't have your eyes to see, but if you have orange, sweetheart, around your pupil, you've got sulfur, and that would make sense that you would have that irritation, but you would have high fungal problems. Of antibiotics like amoxicillin, and then for 6 months before my surgery, my doctor kept me on a low dose of penicillin. Oh yeah, these people are nuts. These people are king-size stupid. These people just don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get it. Because of this, I believe I have lots of sulfur. Oh, I love you guys. You guys are smart. Exactly. You're right on. That's what I think, too. Take a look at your eyes or send them in here. Debbie, maybe we can look at them for going anywhere. I would get horrible stomach cramping and extreme bouts of diarrhea after eating. Yeah, I believe that. And I believe that could be a sulfur overload. But they don't think about anything like that because they're not into health. That sounds funny, right? A medical doctor's not into health. They're into treating diseases because they know there's no cure. There's no cure to diseases. So you can treat them, and if they can control it and make your life less painful and everything, they feel pretty good. Me, I want to cure your butt. I want to fix you up and get your body so you can enjoy it while you're on this planet. You know, you're going to have plenty of bodies, probably a lot of you. Some of you are coming home, you know, a lot of that. Depends what you guys want to do. Where do you want to go in your next life? You know, get this one down so you're not dragging this one into the next one. At one point, I was only eating rice. Oh, no. Constipation at all? Oh, God. And soy sauce as my safe foods and got down to 114 pounds. Now, that's pretty skinny, considering, what are you now, 219? But you have adrenal glands, sweetheart, and you also have pituitary. So you have two things that you're fighting against that you were born with. So you can't beat yourself up. Just what I think you're doing. You're focusing, you're learning, you're growing. Sounds like you're listening a lot, and then you know how to take care of yourself. Because people that don't, they don't know. You talk about the lymphatic system, most people go, huh? And my whole family freaked out, thought I had an eating disorder, and forced me to eat meat and dairy at meals as that's what was healthy. Ow! I had the same, listen, I was raised by my grandparents and my mom. And these people, my grandparents, that was 2 generations back, right? That's a little different than being raised by mom and dad. Yeah, they're a little more hip. But when you go back a generation, especially back in the Depression, whoa! First of all, you were always working. There was, of course, we didn't have any of this, but if they did, there's no way a farmer would allow his kids to play on these cell phones. Hell no. But out 6 o'clock in the morning, we got fields to plow, hay to put up, tomatoes to pick, hogs' noses to wring. Oh. Boy, you ever hear that? As a little kid, scares the crap out of you. About 10 years ago, I started my journey into eating a plant-based diet. Mostly vegan, and lots of stomach problems disappeared. Isn't that funny? That's because your stomach is so acidic that when you bring acids forth, like in proteins, it's just double whammies. And then you ulcerate the stomach and then break it down, and then you got stomach cancers and all this. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on down the acid line. It's an acid rabbit hole. I don't venture into dairy or too much salad. Good. No dairy. Get away from proteins as much as possible. I'd rather see someone eat a piece of meat than beans. Beans are these things are deader than a doornail. I've had 3 pregnancies, all where I struggled very much to make enough milk until taking an anti-nausea medication. That side effect is raising your progesterone, but also can cause severe depression. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. You don't want depression, sweetheart. But listen, you're already in line for that. When I see pituitary, I'm going here. Now, I don't have your eyes to look at your skin and all this other stuff, but I'm going to your thyroid, parathyroid, of course, because there's bones, there's your skin, your fevers, your ability to sweat. Then, of course, I'm going to your adrenal glands. I'm going all over. I'm going to look at all your endocrine glands and see what you're suffering with. Because the endocrine glands are your key. They control literally everything. So you always want to be on an endocrine gland farm and working with that. Sometimes I recommend double dipping it. I mean, when you're talking about your glands, you're talking about, the bosses. Isn't that funny? Oh. There was a laceration, a lactation doctor that ran my blood work right and after I had my last baby, and she said I was pre-diabetic and my thyroid levels were low. Yeah, that makes sense though. She's probably right. She's got your blood work. But she's just saying what I just said. I would be concerned about your thyroid, parathyroids as well. You're pre-diabetic. That's your adrenal glands. It's just more evidence, more lines down to your adrenal glands on top of your kidneys. Well, you guys are the ones that know that your kidney adrenal matrix is your lymphatic eliminative organs. and you don't filter in your urine, you have clear urine, you're in trouble. And you start getting abscesses and cysts and tumors and all these sort of things where you don't know you got them. And then suddenly you start having problems. I still say these are probably blood vessels, but there's your lymphatic finger. I mean, that's just in one finger. And when that backs up, this is what you see. All right? This is what sewage looks like. This is what cells and lipids and everything else look like when your body's being broken down by acids. So eat more protein. You know, I mean, it's crazy stuff. Okay, so pre-diabetic and thyroid levels, that we know that. We didn't need to get your blood. So having Hashimoto's, I believe it is what she said. She gave me metformin. No crap. You're pre-diabetic and yet she already gave you metformin. Man, holy crap. You must have had elevated blood sugars enough to make her do that, or what the hell, which I tried for 2 days and pooped my pants and stopped taking. Look at that crap. I hate pharmaceuticals. When you can use botanicals to help to inspire the function of the thyroid and the adrenals, you got to have those adrenals up anyway. Your blood pressure must be real low. With this. And you could even have nerve rings. Who knows? That's why if you guys send me a good picture of your eyes with your questions, I'll just do a quick look and I'll be able to see these things. I ate a raw diet until dinner, but then completely plant-based. It did seem to help, and I was able to lose like 30 pounds and make enough milk for my babies. Well, you can use also, what's the herbs you can use for milk production? It just left my mind. It's almost like a spice. Yeah, there are a couple of great herbs that help increase milk production. You always want to look at the botanical kingdom to do that. It slipped out of my mind. Dang it. Yeah, I'm out of my mind anyway. I also, I was exposed to mold. Yeah, and you're already full of fungus. And probably with all these sulfa drugs, I kind of feel like you do. I'd be looking at to see if you have sulfur problems, because that irritates the gut wall, the stomach wall, all this stuff. That's why aspirins burn a hole in your stomach. I also expose mold. That would do that. I have nasal polyps. You're full. You're mucus. If you've got nasal polyps, why would you be doing any dairy products? That's a huge no. I mean, that's how you get them. Remember mucus-forming foods? Mucosa? Mm-hmm. Read some Arnold Ehret books, too. I also was exposed, let me see, I have a weak nail. Here we go. Wait for it. I also have weak nails. Not just thyroid, is it? Parathyroids too, absolutely. Keratosis, pilaris on my arms and legs, hemorrhoids, and spider veins. Hell yeah, you got parathyroid. Listen, honey, you want to add that parathyroid glandular to your kit because you want to fix this. You're too young to have a lot of this, because that brings in the world of aneurysms, strokes. We don't want those things, do we? It's harder to get you back. I mean, if you stroke, I can fix you, but, it's not fun. That you have to do fruit, or you can't get out of post-strokes. You can fix someone like this, but they have to be 100% fruit, and I use the herbs too, and then you get them right back. They start getting feeling again. Everything starts pulling straight again. If not, oh, Lord. So that just tells me parathyroid right there. But we knew that, didn't we? Yeah, we knew that. I gained all the weight back again, and I'm just and crabby all the time. You know what? Can you help me? You dang right, Melissa. We are all here to help you, honey. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what your eyes look like to give you a deeper insight into the degree you have these problems, but you know we've already covered them. I think you already know them too. You guys are pretty smart. And we've gone over these things and over these things, and I love it when you guys get it, because when you get it, you can take care of yourself. You don't buy into these crappy medical doctors who are like lifetime antibiotics and crap. I mean, what are they thinking? They don't understand, obviously, the lymphatic system, number one, and why would your lymph nodes have bacteria in them? Why does a septic tank have bacteria? For a medical doctor to give you an antibiotic, it's like you going out to your septic tank and pouring something that kills bacteria, an antibacterial. What are you going to see in your sewer system when you kill the bacteria in your septic tank? Nobody's home breaking down your poop. Your urine is surely filtering off into a drain field, and now they have new systems, I hear. But what happened about the solids, your poop? Bacteria have to break them down, or your septic tank can be full in about 2 years or 3 years. With the right bacteria, you can go 10, 15 years on a septic tank without cleaning them out. So when you kill the bacteria in a septic tank, nobody's breaking down your solids. When you kill the bacteria in your lymph nodes, no one's breaking down your acids that you're producing at the cellular level. Remember, your macrophages in your lymph nodes are for cells. Bacteria is not breaking down your cells. Macrophages are. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, hell. I'm killing the very creatures that are breaking down my acids, so when I pee, I don't pee 3 and 4 pH, I'm maybe up to 6. Thank you. I'm not burning and screaming when I'm peeing. Thank you, bacteria. But just kill them all, and then, I don't know. I didn't learn anything about that. Whew. Scary. Scary, scary, scary. Okay. This is Lisa Marie. Ooh, Lisa Marie Presley. What? Ireland. Tell Maggie I said hi in Ireland. She is a RN into natural health. Her husband's name is Sean. He's a naturopath. They've been over here in America a few times, years and years ago. I haven't seen them in years. 35, 5 foot 6.5. So I'm going to be looking. She only weighs 112 pounds. Low blood pressure. And that's what I think on this other case too. You know, low blood pressure. So where do we find low blood pressure at? We'll just go down this line as she's telling what's wrong with her. Low blood pressure. What's the problem? Adrenal glands. That's your autonomic nervous system. And what number are we generally looking at? Systolic. Systolic blood pressure is your top blood pressure number. That blood pressure we call the cardiac punch because it relates to neurotransmitters. Where your bottom number is your kidney pressures. Whether medical knows that or not, I don't know. Dissociation, weak legs, TMJ, nausea, headaches, scoliosis, negative thinking. Holy crap, where are we going with this young lady? We are definitely going here, pituitary, right? But where else? Bam! We're going to her parathyroid big time, you know, and of course we're going to go to the adrenals because, low blood. Now wait, we've got adrenal gland down, we got her parathyroid down, my guess the thyroid's with it. Well, that's 3 major endos. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 endocrine glands down. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a problem. And we don't want her to feel that way. She's only 35, what, 35? 35. So TMJ, your nausea, all this stuff, but TMJ, your scoliosis, even negative thinking, I'm going to take you right into your parathyroid glands. And you want to get the parathyroid glandular and do 1 a.m., 1 p.m. and see how much that helps you. Because you got to clean your lymphatic system in your head area. Why did your pituitary go down? Why are you only 5, 6.5? And again, that's going to take us to the transverse bowel. Remember, whenever we suspect pituitary, your colon's going to find some problems with it as well. How do you get there? In other words, how do you get from a healthy pituitary to a weak pituitary in the genetic lineage? And that's your lymphatic system. Not your blood that creates weaknesses in your genetic lineage. It's your lymphatic system. Suppresses the function thereof of related tissue. I've been using your herbs for around 10 years. Holy crap. And they generally changed my life. Thank you. But if you still have these problems, you've got a problem here. I've struggled with mental health issues. All right, so I'm going to pull back. And I'm going to put my arms around Lisa Marie, and I'm going to say, Lisa Marie, it's not mental health. This is endocrinology problems. These are physiological problems that humans think that's mental health. They just throw you in it because they don't have no clue. We're naturopaths. We have to know what causes things. We can't sit there and just lump it all under diseases and say, here, take this pharmaceutical and see me in a year, 6 months, or whatever. We're naturopaths. We heal, we cure, we regenerate tissue. We're about what causes it. If we don't know, we're going to scramble, keep trying to figure out what's the cause behind it in science, not in pseudo-diseases and prep. You'll never find it because it doesn't exist. When you can't find something that doesn't exist, it's a theory. It's a 17th century theory that seemed like Rockefeller's really had an insight. Oh, look how we can make a lot of money. And I guess his son, John Rockefeller Jr., agreed with him. Since he started the American Cancer Society, rake it in, baby. We're going to have a cure probably in the next decade. Keep giving because we need that research. My God, people are dying all over the place. That is one of our biggest lies on this planet. This is one of the biggest corruption on this planet. The biggest, what's going on in Somalia and all this, ripping all this Medicare and all. You see those medical doctors, they just were charged of ripping off Medicare and Medicaid. Guys, where's the ethics? Oh. So don't take it on as if you have mental health problems. You have endocrinology problems that need to be fixed. You have a lymphatic system that needs to be fixed, sweetheart. And you have to start somewhere to fix it. And the first way you fix it is what makes your body go down? What blocks the functionability of cells? And that's not going to be blood. That's going to be lymphatic. Well, what does the lymphatic system do? It's your sewer system. Why is it backing up? Kidneys are not filtering. You must be able to filter from your kidneys. Remember those kidney filtration pictures? Uh-oh. You want that in the bottom of your pee jar or toilet. That's your dandruff. That's your tumors. That's what Dr. Pimple Popper gets out of people. Externally, same thing internally, guys. I hate to tell you. Especially skin formula and adrenal support have helped stabilize me but you really got to get into that parathyroid and pituitary. I would be sucking down the endocrine gland formula and the parathyroid and see how you go through here. Make sure it's lifting you up. Make sure your basal temperatures under your arm is around 90, upper 97s, 98. Make sure your blood pressures are at least close to 120 systolically. And if you're way too low, what's the one herb we can go to? Licorice root. and it's an anti-inflammatory as well. So there's a lot of benefits to some of these herbs, but it definitely raises your blood pressure. Really helps. They help me function through some of the difficult periods, and I'm deeply grateful for your work. But still, you've been 10 years taking them. I would look for a cure, but I don't know how your diet's doing. 10 years on a fruitarian diet and these herbs, I can only think of superhuman. So, you got to look at what's going on here. The other side of this is the emotional side. If your adrenals are that low, check and see if your emotions are holding them down. Did you have trauma? Maybe go into meditation and see anything that might come through past lives or whatever. Get rid of. You're here now. Be here now. Nothing in the past. Get out of here. I don't live in the past. Right now. I live right now. Who cares? The past is gone. Oh, let me follow it back. No, you don't want to follow your past back. I'm right here, right now. And I've learned from my past is, and I'm going to take what I've learned, and I'm going right now on down the road. I'm coming out of those rabbit holes. At the moment, I'm dealing with dissociation, very low blood pressure, sometimes 80/50. Holy crap, honey. Oh, licorice root. I mean, you just got to do some of these things, and if you have to take an adrenal glandular, take a 400, I would. You've got to kick those adrenals up, but you've got to get your kidneys filtering. Realizing that the lymphatic system is the big suppressor, how do I get my lymph system moving? Hydration and filtration. Hydration, filtration. Hydration comes with raw food, and especially the fruit and berry and melanine. They're the king of hydrators. And they're king electrically. So for neurological weakness, which is what you're going to be dealing with, when you're 80 over, if you don't have nerve rings all over the place, I'll eat a potato chip. I mean, you've got to... A sense of grounding and all that sort of stuff. Also get stuck in negative thinking very easily. So one of the problems here is getting all fruit for her could be a heavenly experience. You might have to, honey, use some green drinks and stuff like that to do a little grounding, because you can really go. Also take your shoes off and start walking around barefoot. Walk all over, walk outside, get used to the yard, get used to some sun, bring in some light, bring in some power. Get about a half hour of sun every day. Definitely get some indirect sunlighting. No sun gazing, stupid. But realize full spectrum lighting gets in here and energizes you. That's another way you get energy. So these are just some of the things that can help you. Work on these neurolymphatic points. Sometimes I forget to tell you about them, but work on these neurolymphatic points. You want to work the body. You want to start opening these heavily stiffened areas in the body. And of course, the hydration is key to do that. That's not the herbs. That it is, but it's real hydration is your diet. That's why fruits are key in these beginning stages, because they're so hydrators and they're so electrical. Fructose gives you the energy that glucose doesn't. That's why the brain converts glucose to fructose. So when a medical doctor or someone says to you that fructose causes diabetes and all that, you could break out laughing and say, "How dumb are you?" If a medical doctor tells you that, it's been nice knowing you. I'm going to get a new one. Because obviously you don't have a clue about health. But you think you do, and that's the problem. That's where all this misinformation, all this comes out, chest comes up, ego goes out. Oh, if you don't get B12, you're going to die. Yeah, right. Oh, my God. These people are fruitcakes. But, get yourself grounded that way, hot and cold. You do foot reflexology. Play with all of this. Start breaking up all these stagnant acids and stuff, crystals all through your body. Get massages. Get someone, a massage therapist that knows your neurolymphatic points. And I might also add, find a good chiropractor that can get that spine straight. Your spine might be out, blocking some good nerve flow. Get that spine straight. All these things, everything to feel good. If you haven't had a colonic, go get some colonic once or something. Get your bowels cleaned out. Your raw food will clean them out as well because they're clean. Your raw food cleans you while you're eating it. I live very cleanly, no pharmaceuticals, no alcohol, no smoking, no drugs. I eat fruit throughout the day and one cooked vegan meal daily, and I've lived this way for almost 7 years. You know, I think it's perfect. But there's I don't, just detoxing people all these years. There's a time you reach these plateaus. A better plateau. I need to dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Another plateau. I'm feeling a lot better, but I still got this plateau. Another plateau. Dig deeper. Get better. Because you're taking your body down this journey. Your body's not taking, you're taking your body down this journey. You're the one with the awareness, not the body. Your body does whatever you tell it to do. It's like your emotions. Does whatever you tell it to do, believe it or not. Your thoughts, supposed to do whatever you tell it to do. But the mind is in control in most people, especially humans. And this is some of what other beings have learned. Especially your spiritual beings have definitely learned how you set that mind over here and use your awareness, your consciousness. That is a state of observation where your mind is a state of thought, state of thinking. One right after another, building and building and building. This is what I want. Bring in the motion, desire. Ooh, yeah, I like that. We'll build. Ooh, yeah, that looks good. And that's how creation works. Emotions drive thoughts, and then, of course, that all manifests through in the lower areas of creation in the chemical worlds. But it also manifests in the mental worlds. It also manifests in the astral or emotional worlds. You don't have an embodiment here without having it first in those other areas. You can't. That said, I am often under a lot of stress. I've been told I have autism and ADHD. That's just neurotoxic. Honey, you need to detox yourself deeper. Go deeper. There's nothing wrong with you, honey. Go deeper. Your body needs some endocrinology work. Go deeper. Nothing wrong with you, sweetheart. Go deeper. This is your body you got. Go deeper. Look at your eyes. Where are we at? What's this big bunch of weakness here? That's your right kidney, sweetheart. Look how dark your bowels are, and look, you kind of have a stricture here. This is your small bowel on the inside, kind of like probably some spasticity there. A little bit of prolapsing on your hepatic flexure here. This is where your ascending comes up and then curves here and goes through your transverse. Do I see nerve rings? Yeah, not a lot of them, I don't think. What's this? This is your mid-lobe of your right lung and your bronchial trunk right here. So you want to maybe take the lung formula sometime and clean this up because all three lobes have weaknesses in them here. All right, so we're getting close here to the liver. It wouldn't hurt to clean the liver up a little bit here. Here's kidneys. This could be the bladder. I think the vaginal area is probably right in here. A lot of lymph problems. Also vaginal wall. You look like you got a lot of lymphatic problems in the vaginal wall. Be real careful. That's how you pop atypical cells. And then you can see this one. Really, her bowels are real dark. And look how small bowels. You can really see that. Some little Humpty Dumptys. All right, this is getting in here. This is either the shoulder. You're getting up here in the back of your neck and head here. Kidneys the same way. You got both kidney genetics big time here. Look at that. Even influence in the left leg. This could be the rectal area. You got a lot of lymph, the weakness in the rectal, uterine, vaginal, bladder. Matter of fact, your whole back here is weak. You go up to your upper neck. Look at, I'm sorry here. Look at your upper C-spine. Looky there. That's your upper C-spine and throat right there. There's your thyroid right there. So, you know, even though you got pretty good genes, you got to work on yourself, sweetheart. You got a lot of lymph stuff. Your bowels are very weak, chronically so. A lot of heavy lymph around the gut, big malabsorption rings. I mean, look at all this lymph right around here. That should be her eye. Okay. You know, you have to be careful. You're just going to just focus on health. Don't tell yourself that you have mental illness. Don't tell yourself you have this. Don't tell yourself you have that, because you're telling yourself you have it. That's that whole thing about being overweight or obese or fat. Don't go on a health diet to lose weight, because subconsciously you're telling yourself you're fat. So you keep yourself thinking you're fat. And that image keeps you up there. You want to go for the health of it. I want to get healthy. Change what you're going after. I'm constantly driven toward productivity, betterment, and that's your spiritual side, though. I mean, you might be a little bit hyper, but, you know, get on the fruit so you can get neurologically stable. A lot of people think fruit can make you hyper. And maybe if you have a lot of fungus, perhaps, and stuff, but fruit really, as you get your nervous system and filtration going and you get these acids under control, you actually have the opposite. You actually have... Most of you have already found the peace that fruits give you. They just give you a sense of peace. Energy. Energy is not hyperactive. Energy is power. Okay. Well, do some meditation. Probably wouldn't hurt you. Sit down and relax, you know. Start being the observer instead of the thinker. One thing I've noticed is that your old skin formula is particularly used to dramatically reduce my dissociation and help me feel like myself again. No kidding. The old adrenal formula also helped significantly. Skin formula? That's interesting. I'll have to look at that old skin formula and take a look what's in there to see how that helped you that way. That's interesting to know. I'll have to look at that. Skin formula. But, again, picking up elimination. I completely understand that acquiring certain herbs is getting more difficult, but I wanted to ask whether you have any plans to create formula similar to the original skin formula and adrenal support, or something closer to those original blends. I'll look at it. Be happy to. That's why, that's the, you know, they laugh around here, and then, you know, every Monday I come in with, you know, like a homework for them. And they go, oh, God, what you're changing now? You know, it's a big deal to change formulas, but I like to listen to you guys. I'm very hip to listen to you, and I do. And I take a look at these formulas very seriously because I want the best formula I can produce. I want to see a formula that you notice a big difference as you're taking it. You can feel it as it works. We're not taking these herbs to whistle Dixie. You know, I can see from my eye pictures that I have a ton of lymph in my head. Yeah. I don't have any tonsils. Yeah. I think you still drain the head. I don't think that'll block that too much. But you got to do it. You just can't worry about the small stuff. That's in the past. Gone. Don't follow the past. Be here now. Be here now. Be here now. Each and every one of you, be here now. Become the observer, and you'll become the knower, not the thinker, not the believer. You'll become the knower. Knowing is so much higher than believing, don't you think? And knowing comes from experiencing. Mm-hmm. Jesus wasn't a believer. If you believe in that, then you don't know Jesus. Jesus was not a believer. He was a knower. Are you kidding? I can't see from... Also, you often mention a naturopathic doctor in Ireland named Marcy. No, Maggie. If I remember right, Maggie. Could you... Maggie and her husband's name Shannon or Shane. He is a He is a naturopath. They had a big farm at one time. They were really into getting into raw and stuff like that. She'd been over here a couple of times years ago. Nice lady. She's an RN that found truth. Could you share more information about her? It would be wonderful to know of someone in my country. Yeah. Maggie is, you know what? It's been a long time. We've had hurricanes in between us and everything else. So I'll see what I can dig up. And if you're listening to this, Maggie, get a hold of the boys and girls that could, Marco, Debbie, and Nicholas. Thank you for everything you've done. I've come through some very serious challenges. Well, listen, sweetie, listen, Marie. We're all friends. We're all here to help each other. This isn't a capitalist thing. I have a serious side here. I take everything extremely seriously. Your suffering, I take very seriously. If you hadn't noticed, I don't play games like that. I don't have time to play games. So I don't. But yeah, you're really showing kidneys. I mean, you really want to get into your body and get it hydrated, get on those fruits as much as you can, and just keep working it, because outside of that, I don't know what else you can do. And I've got to take a break. We'll be talking to this lady when we get back. Thank you. See, that didn't take long. Oh, my God. All right. Della. This is Della, a 45-year-old female, 5'5", pretty woman, 153 pounds. You don't look it. Low iron, sinus congestion, rapid heart rate. All right. So if we say low iron, we're going to go where? Liver? No, adrenal glands. Sinus congestion is just that, mucus in the sinus. And you just have to, hydrate. A word that we forget about is astringent. How important it is to have a little bit of astringent value. Estrogen is a wee bit of an astringent. Astringents are important to moving fluids, that sort of thing. So that's why fruit is so much better at detoxification. One, electromagnetic energy is much higher than vegetables, so you get a lot more energy from them. They have a lot more astringent values, so they tend to clean you more, move lymph better, and everything is just perfect for the Homo sapien. But 5'5", I'm going to go to your pituitary gland. I have built my way up to a raw diet over the last 2 years. That's pretty good. Yeah. Well, I did the same thing, but I don't know. Mine was over months, and then I would just threw myself into the woods. I was going through all kinds of stuff, and so I just took off. And I wanted to be the fruitarian. I was going to breatharianism. I wanted to see if you could live off the air, why not? You're breathing in your carbohydrates and your proteins and your lipids, but just at a refined level. And so I thought, oh man, that would be unreal, because I was into finding the divine. Got my kidneys filtering? Yeah. It has gotten rid of most of my muscle pain, but am still working on the kidneys and adrenals. My iron still gets low at times. I was wondering where should your ferritin be when you're on a raw diet? Can't tell you. I would love, boy, would I love to have a research center where we could really get into these levels. What would it be? Because no one is raw long enough to be able to stat out like that. And I just would love to see some of that. Some of you guys are the best in the world, so some of you guys have been long-term raw, long-term fruits. It would be great to see where your stats are, because they keep changing their stats. And I suppose we can blame us biochemists, but they keep moving their high-end normal up. You notice that? I know you that follow blood work, and it's like now your kidney high-end normal was always 0.99. Now it's 1.23 or 1.3. No, you don't go up. PSAs used to be 3, now they're 4, high-end normal. It's like, I don't think they get it, you know. We don't have to move the stats to fit the problem. I was wondering where should your, I don't know, honey. Sorry, I can't answer that, but keep working. Yeah. Yep. You look good. Look like you got a skin ring on those eyeballs of yours. I can't see very well because you're pretty far away, but do we see a skin ring on her? You know, it's funny. You look at these little things like that, but then what does that tell you? You see, and that's part of your assessment of an individual or yourself is by looking at your symptomology. Of course it is. But you don't throw, I got this disease. I got a thyroid disease. All right? My thyroid is underactive. I understand the lymphatic system deals with the removal of waste, and if it can't, it backs up, so I tend to get little polyps on my thyroid gland. Oh, I get little polyps they pop up everywhere. Oh, okay, now I get it. And then you start to swell here, of course, right? So you either see a hyper or a hypo situation popping up out of that. You can have a couple generations of hyper and not get a goiter out of it. But the adrenal glands, you're 153 pounds at 5'5". And so, you don't show it with this picture, but I'd be going adrenals and I see the skin ring, I'd be thyroid. So at 5'5", there's your pituitary. So really think about your endocrinology. We've been talking about it the last couple of cases. Your endocrine glands are everything to you. And work on those. Is that receding? Nah. You know, you look at all these things because you're assessing someone, it helps to put the puzzle together. So you already know what the problem is by the symptom. But you can put the puzzle together for these non-believers like medical doctors. You can draw them the picture, put the puzzle together for them, and show them all the links to why it's the pituitary, why it's this, why it's that. So they'll maybe have all right. Joel, United Kingdom, UK, 45, 5'7", 154 pounds. Depression and anxiety both. So he's 5'7", but you're looking at a parathyroid and an adrenal, right? You say anxiety. Where are you going to go for anxiety? Where are you immediately going to go for anxiety? Your adrenal glands. That anxiety translates neurologically. So you can, I mean, and especially anything that deals with breathing. Excuse me. Bad lunch. Chinese. Even their green beans have something on them, you know, all their veggies, but cooked. But I'm crammed up with stuff to do. Grab and go. Choke and puke. Ugh. Depression, of course, is always going to go to your parathyroid glands. So you got two endocrine glands, quite influential endocrine glands involved. I mean, take a look at your eyes. You have a skin ring, but look at your parathyroid, thyroid area. Look at your adrenals, but go right up. Your right side, you're going to the right side of the 12 o'clock position, and the left eye, the left side. And take a look if you have a lacuna or you have some involvement there to the thyroid. Pituitary. You could just have a ton of lymph in the sinuses and suppress your pituitary. Well, that's just sinus polyps and stuff like that. But all this stuff can come loose like tumors do. Or you can always go to a medical doctor and they'll cut your polyps out. I mean, you could. But thanks, Joel. You want to work on these endocrine glands. You're 45. You lived with these all your life. That's what I can't stand, is to hear you guys that have suffered all your lives. I mean, we got to get you out of that. You know, it's no fun to be on this planet suffering, is it? I don't think so. I don't say it's any fun being on this planet, period, but let alone suffering. And, yeah. I have for over 38 years, wow, of my life either sat with depression or anxiety. I knew he would have this. 38 years. Born pituitary, definitely. I am full fruitarian with the tinctures and botanicals which I take. Will the symptoms go away in time? They better. I have done the iridology assessment and have sulfur in the eyes. Yeah, you want to see that. Matter of fact, I don't know. You guys that had sulfur, do you ever see it in your urine? You ever see orange urine, real orange? Because I've seen some people's urine just get downright nasty. Orange, red, not blood either. Stuff like that. It's like black, of course. Man. But you definitely want to see it in your stools at times. If you've got sulfur, you want to see that orange coming out because it will come out the same color you see it in your eyes. Oh, could that mean it's true? But, that's the sort of thing. Just keep working that out because I don't know anything other than our bowel formulas. You could take some extra white oak bark. I mean, that's a real strong astringent, but heavy calcium. It strengthens hemorrhoids, connective tissue. I mean, white oak bark is pretty strong, but it strengthens. It's like a witch hazel. And you just keep, I don't know other than keep working things. The stronger your constitution, the quicker and things just happen faster for you. The weaker the constitution, slow hand Luke. And I don't know what else to say. It makes sense though when you think about it. But Joel, keep going. I'm proud of you. Now, I tell you, it's not easy to be fruitarian. If you live alone, absolutely. Like I say, you can do a lot of things alone and you just like have this homeostasis when you have a loved one. And depends where that goes to what happens to your energy level. The stressors that you each have. Quite frankly, I'm one of those people that believe if you don't get along, that you need to shake hands and, be honest with each other. That's the way I think I told you I was with my second wife. We pulled under a overpass, or underpass, whatever, and had a little talk and realized, we're just not compatible in that way. You got to feel like you're growing and that your mate helps you grow. You don't want a mate that's in total control. Yeah. I think that's probably why, a third of married couple don't even have sex. I like to call it lovemaking, but doesn't even have sex. A third of married couple? That blew me away. I didn't realize it was that prevalent. And then 12% once a month or twice a month. It's like, really? I was always thought when you love somebody and you're digging on each other at least once a day, right? I mean, okay, maybe for some 5 times a week, but come on. It's strange to me. But then, I don't know. Oh, wow. Morgan McDonald, 74. Dang, 5'5". Yeah, so we know we can go immediately to the pituitary. I mean, that goes for sure. She's 105 pounds. High heavy metals. Vaccine. Glutathione 5 transfers, GST, gene deletions. High Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus is not difficult, guys. They blame Epstein virus on chronic fatigue on Epstein-Barr virus, but Epstein-Barr virus that's not the problem. You get into your, definitely get into your adrenals. But mostly stomach, and I've never had a problem getting Epstein virus out of any of my patients. Never. So I don't know, that's pretty easy to do. High heavy metals, I would say, yeah, you really want to work on your lymphatic system. Remember, your blood can't eliminate these things. It'll just dump it either into the spleen, through the kidneys, maybe even in the liver. The blood's going to dump. The blood likes to be alkaline and healthy. So it likes to dump proteins. It likes to dump anything in it that compromises its pH. Make sense? Right. So that's part of the problem, and that all has to be in balance. And so it's your lymph that's got to clean you, and that's your sewer system, and that's where you hold all these metals, you hold all these things. Chemotherapy, you hold these things in your body. Not good. I have single nucleotide polymorphism that impair metabolism of both plant and animal foods and detoxification capability. Well, that wouldn't affect detoxification ability because that is totally chemistry. You can't stop when you do an alkaline diet with astringents. You can't stop what's going to happen. I don't care what genes you have or don't have. Yeah, that's just nature and the way it is. So I don't know. They put a lot of words to this stuff. So, pancreatic problems. If this was true, you would have to have pancreatic and pancreatic duct problems. Right? I cannot metabolize, for instance, carnosine, anzurine, animal, chlorophyll, or beta-carotene plant before I knew this. I was a persistent chaser of the fruitarian breatharian dream. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. All lost survival until the 21st century. Victor Cavalis, huh? Yeah, he was a sproutarian, basically. I think, do we sell his book? I think we still sell his book here. I want people to get a well-rounded understanding of, David Wolf's over here. Of course, he's a newer kid on the block, but Victor goes way back, really. But I'm very familiar with him. I had dangerously high 400 plus glycerin levels, which normalized for some inexplainable reason, but at approximately the same time, I experienced a traumatic hearing loss. No eyeballs. I eat almost exclusively whole organic fruit and want to restore my hearing. Well, hell yeah, what the heck? For which, mostly you lose your hearing from what? Lymphatic / mucus. And that can come out. Candle your ears. To restore my hearing, for which there is virtually no hope offered by anyone. You know, I disagree. You can open these channels up and rebuild strips and everything else. So I totally disagree with that. Also with vision. I have this one guy that's blind. I don't know if he's doing the do or not, but there's no reason this cat can't get his eyesight back. I mean, you get into this, you're going to go through some changes. And the thing is, I want you to think about this. Let's assume that you're right and the medical profession is right in this. Oh, Lord. You're done for. Just go out in the field and kill yourself. You know, no. Of all the foods on this planet, which do you think is the easiest to digest? Probably melons. Then you slip down into your fruits, berries, vegetables. Your fruit, vegetables first, and the last in the vegetable kingdom is going to be your dark green leafies. Humans aren't designed to break down dark green leafies. We don't want to chew enough, and we don't grind. Watch a cow or horse and how much chewing they go through. They're constantly chewing. So, if you had these, assuming, which I totally disagree here, I would have loved to have some eye pictures to you. You're going to go into all this. Let's look at your eyes. But you would want the easiest to break down foods on the planet. And then you would want to start breaking them down in your mouth first. So you would want to super chew even if it was liquid. That'll really help turn the mouth alkaline, but will also start to break it down if you indeed have a frozen pancreas, which I doubt. But you definitely can have some chronic weaknesses in the duct and the pancreas, absolutely. So your carbohydrates and your proteins would be able to break down. You would end in the polypeptide stage, and that, again, will beat your bowel wall up. From proteins, peptide, you got to be in the amino acid stage, and even then, you have to be careful. Too many amino acids, you know, you're barking up the nitrogen tree. It's interesting. What did you say? How did you get your hearing loss? Okay. I am aware of the Oriental medicine adage. The kidneys look out for the ears. I never heard that. That's pretty cool, isn't it? The kidneys look out for the ears. That's pretty cool. I am also aware of the Victor Cavalis, who I hired and met in person as a health counselor for my son. Did you really, in the 1990s? Yeah, I don't think I ever met Victor in person, but I used to sell his book in my health food stores and promote that because, again, I was a fruitarian, breatharian thinker. Not a. I grew my own sprouts in that process, but he was more of a sproutitarian thinker. Matter of fact, there was a big conference or seminar or something somewhere, and they had him, they had David Wolf, they had 2 or 3 of the guys there, and I heard they were having a big argument which diet was the best for man survival into the 21st century. Lost both his hearing and his sight despite consuming a raw vegan diet. But vegan, a vegan for a Homo sapien, okay, so you're in a stage between eating a piece of meat and being a fruitarian or something. You know, you're at a herbivore stage without the herbivore parts to deal with that. So it's more of an energy loss than it normally would be. For a horse or a cow or an elephant, it's an energy gain. For a human, to me, like I said, I used to have, Chili's down here used to have the Dr. Morse salad, because I used to always have, I knew the manager, a friend of mine, he used to made me a particular type of salad with everything on it, you know, and so you got to call it that. So my patients would go in there and order the Dr. Morse salad. That was funny. But I could come to my appointment after lunch and sit there and almost want to fall asleep eating a salad. My body has to have fruit. I got to have the predominance of fruit. I can eat a salad, and then I get mad because I got all that crap in my teeth and everything else. I'm chewing and chewing and chewing, and I don't have that flavor of the fruits. Like I had some of the best mango this morning, and I mean, I think mango, delicious mango salad. Delicious mangoes, salad. Mango! That's pretty cool, though. Ideally, you've been around a long time, too, huh? But you're 74, absolutely. Let me see. Ideally, I'd like to accomplish this whole adhering to do no harm, which would exclude use of botanicals other than the fruiting bodies of fruit-bearing plants. I am a hospital administrator that provides outpatient. No kidding. That's pretty cool. And you're a raw foodist thinker and a fruitarian thinker. I can appreciate that. That's pretty good. That provides outpatient services and know that hearing loss is epidemic. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff people don't realize. Ears, nose, and throat docs. Not only that, but the loss of taste, of course, and the loss of smell. The loss of smell, most people have lost their sense of smell. Loss of taste majorly. Loss of hearing, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, you know, you can clean this upper compartment, but remember it's hooked to your GI tract. I don't know. I believe in going through the body in a proper way and going after these. I have to beg difference. I think plants were here for you. I've spent a lot of time out of body. I'm very aware of plant consciousness, to be honest with you. I communicate well with plants out of body, and so very aware of that. And I can tell you they love what they're here for. That's their karma, and they're not so tied to their bodies. I can't explain it. It's like in the human, you have more self-awareness. You can ask a guru probably more about that. But as you form into the human offers a little more self-awareness than even the primate, and that 2% difference. Know that hearing loss is epidemic amongst it. Of course, like I said, we could pull probably 2/3 of the people out of any nursing home out there. I think easily. I pulled several people in my life out of a nursing home. I remember one guy, his wife and his son came to visit me and said, "My husband's in a nursing home." He doesn't even speak anymore. And he's just been laying there for a couple of years or however long it was. And I said, can you help him? I said, well, let's see. I said, you got to get the medical doctor's approval that runs a nursing home or oversees a nursing home. But if it's right, I want you to give him nothing but fruit and these herbs. And this was in June or July. It's a good one. By Christmas, I had him home with his kids, Christmas, having fun, enjoying his family. That was a good one. But I only put him on. I was strict, very strict when it comes to that sort of thing. And it paid off. She got her husband back, and the son got his dad back. Grandkids. Yeah. Almost like it's not even a part of the field of medicine. You know, there's a lot of that is. I think the field of medicine has a lot of cool stuff, no question about it. Especially when you get into your digital stuff, your CAT scans and stuff that are digital, where you have very low radiation and stuff like this. Some of the tests, they still use toxic dyes and stuff, so there's some of the stuff. The oncology part of medicine is the criminal side. Don't tell me you're going to give someone a 1.5 to 2 pH to maybe save them because they're doomed. That's a bunch of crap. That's a huge lie. We pull people out of stage 4s all the time around the world. So don't give me that bull crap. When I'm attempted to address potential, at least partial recovery, how can you be a fruitarian and be a hospital administrator and deal with that? I mean, I spent 6 years of my life in 3 hospitals, so I'm very aware of at least a lot of that. Audiologist, dang, that's a tongue twister. Holy crap. She just shrugged her shoulders and said she had no idea where to even begin. I am experiencing significant middle ear inflammation, and that should be remediable, even if ocular damage is not. All right, so as soon as you say inflammation, all right, even the medical, right, as soon as you say inflammation, what do you mean? What are you talking about? What's the inflammatory process, and what's it all about, right? And when you get into looking at it and you understand the cationicness of acids and the anionicness of alkalis, and you start to realize that the body is an aware machine and that it's going to call up for help when things are getting down pretty bad, when the lymphatic system is stagnant, because what system carries the acids in the body? You don't tell me blood, because that's not true. It's going to be the lymph system. So when your kidneys are not filtering, you have lymphatic stagnation, you're going to start with what we call low-level inflammation. Your body's going to start, hey, I need some help over here. So you're going to see more aggressive blood flow, maybe a little redness in that area. We're working. We're going to try to free this area up. But when the kidneys are stagnant, the thyroid is low, and the skin, you're not sweating, you are locked, honey. You're locked in there. And you have to open some doors. Well, what doors do you got to open? If you can't sweat it out or pee it out or even poop it out, even that's digestive waste, how do you get out? How do you get your waste from your cells out? 100 trillion cells. How do you get those wastes out? Recirculate them? Whoever thought of that? Whoever thought people would buy into that had a brain? Come on. Come on now. So to get this, you got to drain this, right? I don't know. Something I can't tell you is a question from this lady before. What tissues do the tonsils directly affect? They're lymph nodes. Every lymph node has tissue involvement. they're responsible for. Every house has to have a septic tank, or in a subdivision, you might have a subdivision where there's a central area, but every house contributes to that central sewer area. Sewage is sewage. You know, the nature of it's the same. I mean, you only have acid and base in life, right? So, another thing I want you to remember, head sits on top of GI tract. Head sits on top of GI tract, in particular, transverse colon. You can see it in the eye every time. You can't have a healthy transverse colon and have pituitary, pineal, and other problems up there. Because if this is healthy and your bowels are moving, all these channels can open and you can drain, except for the kidney blockage. Salt in Chinese food. Please let me know your thoughts. A lot of people who do have my limitations could benefit. And Morgan, have you ever tried ear candling? We had an RN that used to do 5 candles per ear for us. Getting some ear candling in there. Of course, those ear, nose, and throat guys like to blow it out. Oh, but to loosen is to hydrate. Makes sense? To stiffen, to lock, is to dehydrate. All right? Blood always has to hydrate or death is imminent within minutes. Lymph can dehydrate you for years and years and years, and all you have is pain, suffering, all that you see. Because as the suppression of the endocrinology or the endocrine glands of your body happens, those related functions are suppressed. Your bones start falling apart, your joints, your connective tissue, your veins start popping out, hemorrhoids every time you poop and bleed. I mean, you can go on and on and on with this. But thanks for the question, Morgan. Appreciate it a bunch. All right, so I've got time for one more. What do we got here? Whoa, look at this eye coming. Whoa. Or maybe we'll do this one. Oh. This is pretty interesting. This is from Donna. And this is a testimonial from Donna, who is detoxing from cystic fibrosis with pictures. My veins are flat and my tummy is flat again. Without a working pancreas, CF, this has been tough. Anyway, please share this with Dr. Morse. My veins were popped up almost to my knees and my elbows. This is today. I hope I can be an example for others to detox and start feeling amazing. And the acid reflux herbs are kick-ass great. Yeah! Thank you! I thought it was. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Donna, thank you, honey. I appreciate that. I love getting feedback on my formulas because I'm trying to have kick-ass formulas. That's the goal. These herbs love each other. These herbs are here for use. Even, I tell you what, like the lady there that's a Victor Cavadas fan and out of body or breatharian thinker and stuff. Yeah, you have to understand creation. Lego pieces, everything. Here today and gone tomorrow. in the final analysis, spiritually, nothing better matter. Whatever matters as your time to leave, you got a chain, baby. And that chain can pull you into the next life. This is part of the secrets of how you free yourself from the will, what they call the will of the 84 or reincarnation, karma, whatever you wish to call it. How do you free yourself from that route? You're the creator. So if you don't want to have lifetime after lifetime, you have to quit creating. Remember, everything comes from the same source. There's a difference between consciousness and creation. Or for some, I could say there's a difference between God and its creation. If you can keep the ideal of God as something that's omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient, so there's absolutely no form to it. It's formless. How can there be form? That's limitation. And there's no limitation to the divine. It's infinite. There's no beginning, no end. Limitation only occurs in what? Worlds of duality. That's, of course, how you develop form. And it starts out, with electromagnetic energy at certain levels, and then that ends up forming way down here into the atoms, and then atoms into the elements, and then, you finally get form out of it. Form goes, form builds, form goes. So that's the beauty of healing even. You've got the breakdown of things, but then your body can rebuild, and it's fun to see the body rebuild itself. It just, it's just cool as all get out. When you thought you couldn't get out of something, and suddenly you start working on it the proper way, and suddenly you're feeling better and better and better. You're fixing yourselves. And let me tell you, anybody with cystic fibrosis, 100% fruit, berries and melons, 100% fruit, berries and melons. There's nothing funny about cystic fibrosis at all. Here's Susie Q. Susie from the United States is a 47-year-old female that is every bit of 5 foot. Holy crap, Sue. 120 pounds at 5 foot. But 5 foot. So you immediately know you have a pituitary problem. Immediately. And from that, if you want to expand your thinking, you could say, well, I might even have a pineal gland. How do I sleep and rest and things like that? Okay, this head sits on top of my transverse colon, so, and I do have bowel problems. You know what I'm saying? This is GERD, IBS-C. Well, wait a minute, I got just the thing. That's what that lady said before you, acid relief tea. The thing is, oh God, poor thing, take a look at her eye. So I hope that's just light, because if you start looking like this a little bit too much, I'm thinking cholesterol. Your pupil also has a little shading to it, so I'm going, I don't know. You definitely have the skin, of course. If this is the left eye, here's the kidney right here. But this could be the left leg and femur. This one right here. This is really a hard eye to see, honey. But one thing's obvious. You can see the thickness of your sewer system, your lymphatic system. You see the thickness of that. And you're 47. I think you better be real careful about cholesterol problems. Now, this could be the light, but I don't know, honey. Be real careful here. Yeah, you have a real left leg weakness. Your left leg is genetically weak and part of the hip. Your kidney on the left side is chronic with a chronic adrenal gland. Your uterine is somewhat chronic and some of the vaginal wall, heavy lymph in the bladder. Your upper C-spine, throat, weak genetically. Your thyroid, parathyroid is weak genetically. That's what I see out of your left eye. But that's not bad. But it does say at 47, you want to make health your happiness, your fun. Make it a fun thing. You know, some people say, that's like pulling teeth. Not me. I love health. I love feeling good. I love being healthy. I love eating right. You don't eat right, you can't poop. I mean, you know, you pay all those prices. And it's like, okay, you know, I love feeling good. I love dedicating my life to health of my human form. I can do whatever I want, you know, but I need to have a healthy human form. You never know that so much as you get older. You know, it just really hits you about, you know, how much stress you put on the spine, hips, knees, you know, that sort of thing. And hell, I'm always giving my body hell. Get it together, boy. But GERD, you know. So, real thick. Your lymph system is just real thick here. Can't tell if you have sulfur or what in there. Need a better pick. But you're really... Here's your left leg right there. Real weak. One thing's for sure is you got endocrine gland problems majorly. You're only 5 foot tall. Parathyroid also is involved. You want to strengthen your connective tissue here, your legs and everything else like that, and your endocrinology outside of this GERD. All right, so the other side of this is GERD, IBS, and what they call these names for intestinal and colon problems, right? All the way to the cancers, right? It's all just degrees of the same problem. That's all it is. It's all degrees of the same problem. Ulcerative colitis, all degrees of the same problem. Serious degrees of the same problem. And the problem is a stagnant or constipated lymph system interstitially, that's around the cells, in the intestinal walls. A lot of people's intestinal walls are inflamed just by eating protein. That's what the World Health Organization found, burning them from the inside, outside in. But when you get into Crohn's, you get into all these sort of things, and IBS, you're interstitial. Your remedy is found through the lymphatic system and the kidney channel. You can use this acid relief tea all you want. Very helpful. And it gets interstitial. But what's the bottom line to this? Moving your lymphatic system. That's always the bottom line to this whole thing, is moving your lymphatic system. So that's key. That's all I can tell you. I'd get on my bowel formulas. They have a little of this in them too. They have a little of that in them as well. I built those bowel formulas to, first one doesn't move you, but from 2 on moves you a little bit, each one more. I don't want anybody sitting there with constipation. And when you have real low adrenal glands, you have nerve rings, sometimes you have low peristaltic responses. So we're working on the adrenals to get more neurotransmitters, so your myelin sheath runway will increase, and therefore better peristaltic reaction, but not just in the colon. You have a lot of peristalsis throughout the body. I mean, this affects everything. So the endocrine glands are important. The detox kit, I keep referring to that because that's the road I recommend going down. I don't just pick and say, here, just take the kidney or just take that, because I don't recommend that. You can do that and pick and choose how you want, but this is what I recommend. Fruit, berry, melon diet for sure if you can. If you got a lot of IBS and GERD, be real careful. I wouldn't eat too acidically, no tomatoes. Of course, no potatoes, things like that, unless they're raw. Then I'd be careful with the raw potatoes, are real strong astringents. They're like witch hazel. But you want something like peach juice, pear juice, grape juice, that sort of thing. I'd probably even stay away from oranges, apples, red delicious, sweet type juices, that sort of thing. Worst case scenario, green drinks, stuff like that. I wouldn't put salads down. I would definitely no protein, dairy, beans, grains, crap like that. Go gentle, and get you some get this acid relief tea and sip on it throughout the day, or get the capsules. You can take the capsules, and get those kidneys filtering. That's your doorway. Your bowels don't offer much of a doorway. You would think that they can throw up as well as inhale. You have absorption, except when you detox, you start to see things creep through the bowel wall from the inside. But that's like fascinating and what? So let's go on down that line and have fun with that, Susie. You'll be fine. It looks to me like you might even have some heavy sulfur involvement. I don't know, other than what I know is how to get stuff out, how to buffer while you're getting things out, stuff like that, to help you guys get that full remedy with that. So with that, Mia's got to go. Mia's got to go out in the gardens and work. I'm digging this another ditch. I got to get it dug here real quick. I got trees coming. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves, and thanks for all the good blessings and everything. And this works, always works. Sometimes your cases are tough, but you just got to work through them. There's nothing else to say about it because there's nothing else out there. Natural health is natural health. Natural health is not extracted vitamins and minerals. It's not extracted pharmaceuticals, nothing like that. That's another world. Natural health is holistic. So with that, namaste, my dear ones. May the blessings be.